Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 262 of bulking to 75 kilos with calisthenics only, and today is a hamstring day. Now, I'm nervous for this one, which is, kind of special when I think about it, because, if you have been watching the videos, you know that I have a little bit of an injury in the back of my leg again, and I'm trying to treat it by not training hard, or at least not with high intensity, short sets. I'm trying to make my sets longer, have a lighter load, but more time under tension to get a good pump in the hamstring and get the blood flowing to get it healed again. And, the fact that I'm nervous for this training makes me in some way very happy, because oftentimes when you think about an injury, you think about setbacks, you think about this period of time that is just lost and you're not able to grow from, like you're not able to make progress anymore. But I think that's not the case, because just as with any training, right, when you are doing such a hard training that makes you nervous, that's where growth is. If, for example, on Saturday I'll be doing 10 sets of heavy squats, it makes me nervous, but it will make me grow. Tomorrow I'll be attempting 25 sets of 20 push-ups. It makes me nervous, but I'm gonna grow. And for today, I'm nervous as well, because I know today's training is gonna be hard. And, at first you might think like, oh, if you're injured, you can't do hard training, but any training can be hard, if you just give it some time. So let's say you're doing like a push-up workout, right? And at first you're doing like 50 reps and you think, well, this is kind of easy. Well, if it's easy, then you just have to try harder, do some more push-ups, do some more sets. And if you repeat the process of trying to add like a bit of intensity in your workout, eventually that same workout, it's going to have way more reps, it's going to have way more volume or intensity, and it's going to be hard. And it's not only for physical stuff, if you're injured, let's say you're injured and you cannot do anything, your arm is broken, your leg is broken, whatever the fuck, you cannot do anything physical. Like, you can still progress, you can still, do activities that make you nervous. But let's say it's not going to be training. Instead, you're going to focus on studying, right? Instead of spending your time on training, you're going to study now. And, you take on these topics that maybe are difficult to understand, or maybe you set a challenge of, I'm going to study for 2 hours a day, and you don't know if you're going to be able to do it, right? If you just keep doing these hard things, there is just growth everywhere, but you have to find it yourself, right? Even if nothing bad is happening to you, even if you're not injured, you have a perfectly healthy body. If you don't look for growth, if you don't look for a challenge, you're not gonna grow. But vice versa as well, even if something is going on, there's not a single day going by in your life where you can do absolutely nothing, where absolutely nothing is in your power to become better, to have growth somewhere, So it's up to you to find it, even if some, plan A isn't working, even if you're injured, even if you've got some shit going on, maybe you didn't get enough sleep, it's up to you to still find something to do that makes you kind of nervous, right? Because, like I said, that's where you're gonna become better. And, today, hamstring workout, 5 sets, it's gonna be a short one, it's gonna be the same short workouts that I've been doing to treat my hamstrings in these past couple trainings, but I'm adding a little bit of reps every time, or I'm upping the intensity just a little bit. And now I'm at this point, I'm gonna try and do 5 sets of 12 reps with index finger assisted Nordic curls. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. It makes me fucking nervous, and that's the exciting part, because like I mentioned, normally, like, you're injured, you're fucking down, but even in these situations, you can, like, this is fucking proof, to me at least, you can find something and still grow, like, in that situation. And it's only gonna make you stronger afterwards, when everything is going, as it should again, when you're healthy again. So, yeah, let's head outside. It's getting dark already because I'm training late today. But, yeah, let's head outside and do some Nordic rolls. Oh, fucking hell. That's insanely difficult already. and I have 4 more sets left. Even when you're injured, even if you've got something going on, you can challenge yourself. Don't forget that. It's all in the way you perceive things, If you think that you're in a situation where you can do absolutely nothing, well, you're not going to be able to do absolutely nothing. But if you're able to think from there and turn it around and spin it upside down, and think to yourself, well, I'm not able to do much, but what can I do? If you can think about what you can do, you'll find something and you'll be able to challenge yourself. So that's what I'm gonna do here as well. Okay, so I forgot to record the last set, but this is set number 5, So the last few sets were insanely difficult already. This one is gonna be, if I hit 12, it's gonna be, well, I think my max effort, but let's see how it goes. The pump is insane already. Fucking hell. Alright. That was fucking intense. But I'm gonna do one more set, because I wanna reach failure. Well, one set at least. I wanna hit failure today. I wanna be able to do a set where I give it my all, my everything, and still I'm not able to reach 12 reps. That's the primary goal was to hit 5 sets of 12, but now the secondary goal is to hit failure, Just like Tom Platz mentioned, I want to succeed to hit failure. Failure is a success when it comes to training, so let's go. Fuck. Alright. That's good. Let's head inside and discuss. Pushy. Alright, that's it for today's workout. Shorter than usual, but I did some foot exercises afterwards to make up for it, And basically that's to make or to keep myself sharp. Oftentimes you see people using a setback, using an injury as an excuse to kind of slack off, and I think that's very bad. Now, in the meantime, there's like 5,000 of you, subscribe to this channel, so there's bound to be someone who's injured, and I hope you're not using it as an excuse to slack off, because hey, no matter what setback you have, if you truly want something, the goal doesn't change, and there's always options that you can still do to head towards your goal. Like, I injured myself badly twice in my life. Once with my knee, with my ACL, I tore my ligament, and once with my shoulder, like I got a really bad, I guess, bruising. Like I couldn't move my shoulder anymore because I fell on it during a judo match. And, the difference between those two big injuries was the mindset and nothing else. Like the first time when I injured my ACL, I kind of gave up on myself, I was slacking off. I wasn't eating properly anymore. And I was like, fuck this, And yes, I was doing my rehab exercises, but I wasn't truly putting my all into it, I wasn't thinking about what I could do. Rather, I was thinking about what I couldn't do anymore, and I was depressed about it. I was being a little wimp about it, But on the second time I got injured with my shoulder, I learned from that. I knew like that mindset doesn't make me happy. So I changed my mindset into thinking like, well, whatever, right? I can't do anything anymore. But from here, what can I do in order to gain back what I lost? I started thinking about what I could do again instead of what I couldn't do anymore. And it was a way different story. I was doing my rehab exercises, of course, but I was also asking my physiotherapist, like, what else can I do? Can I do this? Can I do that? Is it okay if I do the exercises 3 times a day instead of 2 times? Can I do something else to speed up the process? Can I try this? I was, constantly begging the guy with questions. Maybe sometimes he was getting frustrated because of it. But, you know, by putting yourself in that mindset of, what am I still able to do? And then doing that thing, not only are you you're gonna be happier, but also you're gonna make more progress. No matter how little the effect of what you're doing is, it's still better than nothing. It's way better than, slacking off and losing the edge, losing, the skill you built up to push yourself, because if you don't push yourself, if you slack off, you're gonna forget how to push yourself. It's a skill just like anything else. And that's why it's important, even if you have a setback, to keep going, to find what you're able to do, because, it's a bit of a stoic philosophy thing, I guess, that I'm about to explain now. But, no matter what happens, you as a person, you have a goal you're heading towards, and it shouldn't, like, the goal shouldn't change easily because of outside factors. So if you have this setback, it's an outside factor, and then you completely give up on yourself, you're not heading towards your goal anymore. That's exactly what's happening. You're letting the outside influence you. You're letting the outside influence your goal, but the motivation for your goal comes from within. So you should not let anything else influence it. You should always think to yourself, what is the best option to get where I want to go? And you know, I can count on one hand. Well, I can count with 0 fingers, because it's never the case. It's never the case that doing nothing at all and just sitting in the couch and being lazy is going to be the best option. So, if you're injured right now, don't give up. Get out of your fucking couch. Go do something, even if it's not physical, even if it's not directly correlated with your goal. If your goal is to build a physique and you're injured and you can't do anything, right? Study, learn about fucking bodybuilding, learn about physiotherapy, do some stretching, whatever the fuck it may be. It's gonna be better than nothing. So yeah, let's do our best together. Gambaroze in Japanese. But tomorrow is gonna be a push day. I'm nervous for it already, because it's time to hit 500 push-ups in 25 minutes, 25 sets of 20 push-ups, and that's fucking insane to think about. But nervous, but also looking forward to it. That's what I'll say. I'll see you then. Right now, I'm not gonna have dinner. I had dinner already. I'm just gonna see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll stop yapping.